Hello everybody, my name is Rebekah. Welcome or welcome back to my channel, and today's video is going to be a very special one in honor of my upcoming birthday. My 16th birthday is February 10th, Sunday. In honor of that coming up, I wanted to do a 16 things I learned in 16 years. I know that this concept isn't the most original, but I wanted to do kind of my own take on it. If I'm going to do a video that's not original, I'm gonna make it my own, you know what I mean? So I know that it's not an uncommon thing for people to say like, this many things I learned in that number of their age. But I thought 16 was a big milestone, and I've learned a lot, especially in the past year or two. So I thought that, and I didn't want to do I was like looking them up to see like what other people's takes were on it, and they were all the freaking same. They were all overly cheesy, artsy, inspirational, like montages of them, you know, walking through fields and on vacations with this really like serious voiceover, and I'm just like, I'm gonna do my own take on that. I like to be more casual. That's my style. When I make videos, I like to chill. Obviously, you guys know I like film, so I like that, but I don't know, I feel like it's just more real, and I just feel like we have I don't know, I just feel like even when I watch videos, I would rather watch someone act like a person rather than this like overly cheesy, inspirational speaker. I don't know, because like, us, you know, YouTubers, you kind of feel like you're friends, and you feel like you're just like having a nice casual conversation. So that's what I wanted to do, and I don't know, the realness, the reality, that's my style, and honesty. So that's what I wanted to do, and I wanted to kind of not only like share these with you guys and share my wisdom and what I've learned over the past 16 years, but I wanted to kind of reflect myself on what I've learned in the past 16 years, kind of remind myself, and just self-reflection I think is very important. I've said this in a couple of my other recent videos, but I don't know, I just really like self-reflection. I think it's important, and I want to kind of share this inspiration with you guys. And also, I've noticed in these videos that they'll just like say it, they don't expand on it at all, which, as you guys know, my style is to really expand on things and elaborate on things. I just feel like I don't know, it's just my thing. I feel like I understand the point better when there's more of an explanation. And I notice in these videos they try to keep it really concise and just say one sentence and then move on. And I'm like, okay, can you like expand on that a little bit? So that's what I'm gonna do. So this video might be long, but my videos are long. Hi, I'm Zoe, nice to meet you. Welcome to Zoe Rebekah's channel. So if you guys are coming up to 16, you're younger than 16, and you need some inspiration and some foresight, or if you're older, I don't care what age you are, I hope this can help you, and I hope that I can convince you that it does get better over time. It does. It may not feel like it. I mean, like I said, I'm still only 16, but like I feel like I'm a lot better now than when I was like 14 or like 15, like when I first turned 15. Like I feel like I've grown and learned and matured a lot since then, and I'm in a better place. So I want to tell you that even though this is cliche and you hear it a lot, but it does get better. It does get better over time, and I want to kind of reiterate that and kind of show you that I'm still struggling a whole lot with a lot of stuff, but as I've grown up, as I learned and strengthened and all that stuff, it's gotten easier to deal with the stuff I have to deal with. And yeah, so I just kind of wanted to say that and reinforce it, even though some of these things you'll probably have heard already, but I just think that they're so important. These are just 16 main things that I have learned throughout my 16 years of life. Okay, without further ado, let's get into it. And these are may have varying levels of, you know, depth, but the first thing I want to say is that social media is toxic as fuck. Don't compare yourself to others, and it is not healthy to post everything you feel. Oh my god, over the past few years, from when I was like 12, when I first started to get really into like Snapchat and Instagram, I just posted everything I felt, and it was not healthy. I had no privacy. I did not keep anything to myself. I didn't know where the line was, and it was just not good. I made myself it was very naive of me. It was very immature of me. Certain people saw it that I didn't want to see, but I'm putting it on a public platform, they're gonna see it. Obviously, you guys know I like to be real, and it's not good to bottle things up that much, but you gotta find that balance, and oversharing is still a huge issue that I have learned is an issue, and something that I have tried to do less of now that I don't even have Snapchat or Instagram, which was like one of the best decisions I have ever made, was getting rid of those two social media platforms. They're toxic as fuck. They would make me so depressed scrolling through them. You know, social media can just be very, very toxic and addicting, and just certain aspects of social media, I'm not gonna get too into it, but just are just pointless. And so yeah, the second thing I want to point out that I've learned is that everybody is facing a battle that you know nothing about. Even though my first thing I learned was about social media, part of that was because I was feeling so down on myself because I would watch these people posting about their seemingly wonderful lives, and it was just making me feel awful. A lot of those people aren't happy, and they're really insecure, and they're looking for validation, which is, again, something you've probably heard before, but it's true. Like I said, everybody's facing a battle you know nothing about. That's like a huge thing I've learned, especially from my dad, who always says that to me. It's like, you can think that someone has this perfect life and they're struggling with their own shit. They're just good at hiding it. Like, I've met like popular kids who are so depressed. So you never know. And so making assumptions about people, about anything, and that's kind of a theme I tried to include in my last video about assumptions, is that you can't make assumptions all the time. Like I said in my thumbnail, assume makes an ass out of you and me, ASSUME. So you can't assume things. They're probably not totally accurate. I mean, some assumptions are accurate, but like I said, everybody's dealing with their own shit. Don't assume that everyone's life is perfect, because no one's life is perfect. Nothing in the world is perfect. No person, no idea, nothing is 100% perfect. And that is the perfect segue to my third thing I learned, is that nothing is perfect. And along with that, I'm going to include that constructive criticism is necessary. So the first thing, a part of this thing I've learned, is that nothing is perfect. Nothing is perfect, and everyone makes mistakes, and everyone's dealing with stuff that you know nothing about. So these two are kind of perfect segue into each other. Something that I've always struggled with, and I still am really struggling with it, is accepting that perfectionism isn't realistic, and it's just nothing is going to be perfect. So there is no point of trying to set unrealistic goals for yourself. You should always try to do your best, always put in 100% effort, always try to strive to do your best, always strive to learn and get better each time, but nothing is going to be perfect. So that's a huge thing that I've learned, but like I said, I'm still working on that, and because I still have problems with perfectionism because of my mental illnesses, but it's something I'm aware of and something I've learned. Like, I have a main thing I've learned in the past 16 years. And along with that, I wanted to include that constructive criticism is necessary. I thought that I should include that in there because, like I said, nothing is perfect. So you should seek into other perspectives and hear what they have to say about you should listen to their constructive criticism you should listen to the constructive criticism of another perspective, if that makes sense. So to explain all these, I'm just going to use the same example of like YouTube, because that's what I'm doing right now. It's on the top of my mind. So you could upload a video, and something I'm working on now is trying to accept the fact that my videos are not going to be completely perfect for me and for my unrealistic standards. I need to accept that. So even though I can work so hard on a video and try to make it as perfect as possible, there may be some constructive criticism that another viewer, another perspective is going to pick up on, and I appreciate that when they share their constructive criticism, because I can use it, I can use that constructive criticism to improve that aspect in the future. So if someone's like, for example, there's too many jump cuts, I've taken that constructive criticism and I won't add as many jump cuts. Yeah, so like I said, constructive criticism is necessary. You have to learn how to handle it, and you should appreciate constructive criticism. Don't take it as hate. Some other YouTubers really need to understand this. Not everything that you disagree with, or not everything that's not super positive is hate. Constructive criticism is not hate. Destructive criticism is hate. Constructive criticism is necessary, and it should be appreciated by the creator. And expecting everything to be perfect or striving for perfection is just going to be another setback for you, and you don't need another one of those. The fourth thing I learned is that some people just won't like you. Whether it's for no reason at all, whether it's something that you did in the past or how you acted in the past, or it is for whatever reason. Nobody is liked by everyone. Even though some people it may seem that way, nobody is liked by 100% of the people they will interact with in their lives or that know of them. And you have to accept that. And if they dislike you for invalid reasons or based off of things you did in the past, just because that person can't let shit go or that person can't see how much you're worth, if they can't see how much you're worth, then they are not worth your time or effort or energy. Okay? They don't deserve to be on your mind if they dislike you for invalid reasons. And some people that I've definitely noticed, some people just can't move past things. I mean, guilty as charged. There are certain things that I really struggle to move past, but especially with people my age, is that if I did something stupid in middle school or elementary school, some people just still don't like me because of that, even though we've all been growing so drastically throughout the years. I'm a completely different person than I was 10 years ago, but some people might still not know how to let that shit go, and that's not your fault, that's their problem. The fifth thing I learned is that honesty is the most important part of a relationship. That is my opinion, but I think that honesty is just hugely important in any relationship with anyone. If you can't trust somebody, and if somebody's constantly lying to you, it's just a very toxic relationship that you just don't want to be in. And it hurts so bad to have your trust betrayed, and it's just like the worst feeling, and it's happened to me so many times, and I'm so emotionally exhausted from it. And just something I've learned and something I want to reflect on in this video is that I believe that honesty is the most important part of a relationship. If someone's not honest with you, then they're not being a good friend or partner or whatever the relationship is. The sixth thing I've learned is that it's very hard to love other people when you hate yourself. Again, something you've probably heard a lot, but it is something I've learned and something that has been very relevant to my life because I've struggled so much with depression and self-esteem issues and self-hatred that it's been very difficult for me to maintain relationships with people or have healthy, stable relationships with people because it's so hard to help other people when you can't help yourself or love other people when you can't love yourself. So it's something I'm really working on, but it is something I have definitely learned a lot throughout the years. So I've heard people, who struggled with their self-esteem and then they got better, and then their relationships with people just got so much better, and they were actually able to maintain healthy, stable relationships and help people once they could help themselves. The seventh thing I've learned is that change is inevitable. Life is constantly changing. Life is a series of changes and decisions from what I've noticed, if you want to think of it philosophically. It's not really that philosophical, but moving on. Change can be very hard to deal with, especially difficult changes. No way. Difficult changes are the hardest to adjust to? No fucking way, Zoe. And I've spent so much energy and time trying to reject change that I'm tired, I'm exhausted from it. I'm exhausted from a lot of things, but it is exhausting to keep trying to reject things that are going to happen. A lot of the themes here is acceptance. Sometimes you just have to accept things. Obviously, you shouldn't settle for certain things. Like, don't just settle for like some toxic boyfriend or girlfriend and just kind of like accept the fact that they're an asshole. Like, that's a different thing. But things like change, you have to accept that change is gonna happen. Even though you might be very comfortable in your routine, it might change. There might be something that gets thrown in there that might throw you off, and it might not be the most comfortable, but you can't control that, and you just kind of have to accept it, embrace it, don't reject it or push it away. You're just gonna be exhausted, and it's still gonna change. So it's just not productive to try to push away change because it's gonna happen. Number 8, when you go through tough times, you will just come out a stronger and more tolerant person as you come out the other end. I've gone through a lot of very tough things in my life, very heavy, very consuming, very weakening things. But because of that, pain tolerance, emotional, physical, whatever. My tolerance has gone way up, and I feel a lot stronger because I've gone through very hard things that you need a lot of strength to endure, and because of that, my strength has continued to grow. Even though the situations are really tough and I'd rather not have to deal with it, when you think about it optimistically, which is something I've been working on, when you think about it optimistically, you could turn these
"I hate this, why is this happening, this isn't fair, this is just horrible."
If you want to think about it positively, then you can think,
because this is happening, I'm getting stronger from it, I'm becoming more tolerant for it.
And if somebody hasn't gone through that much shit and their life's been pretty easy breezy, and they deal with something that is much, I don't want to minimize anyone's problems, but if they go through something that's less severe than something you've gone through, they're gonna like way overreact because they don't know what it's like to have to deal with really tough things. And if you were in that situation, you'd know how to handle it and you wouldn't be that upset about it because you've gone through much worse. I hope this is not making sense, but as you have to deal with tough times in your life, if you think about it optimistically, it's just going to make you stronger. As you come out the other end, you'll be a very strong person and your tolerance is going to increase. And the ninth thing is that be a leader, not a follower. I've been there. My brother still does it. He's 13, you know, that's definitely, I was doing this at 13 too. People just want to do shit just to fit in. They don't want to be themselves. They don't want to express themselves or make their own decisions. They just kind of go along with what everyone else is doing so that they can fit in. And I mean, sometimes being yourself can backfire because people are judgy. Don't care. I just don't care. Stop caring what people think so much. Much easier said than done, but it's gonna make your life a lot worse if you just are constantly thinking about,
is this person gonna like this?
Just do whatever you want to do, you know, obviously within reason. Don't break the law or anything. But an example that I've gone through is that don't force yourself. If you want to wear a certain style of clothing that is different, do it. Don't force yourself to wear uncomfortable clothing just because that's what everyone else is wearing and you want to fit in. Like I did that in middle school, especially in 6th grade. I just wanted to be like everyone else, so I wore the most uncomfortable clothes for me because that's what everyone else was wearing. But I was so uncomfortable, and then I started wearing the clothes that I wanted to wear that were comfortable for me, even though they were different than what people would typically wear. I liked it and I felt so much better, and I could be more productive, and I just felt so much better. Like last year, like I would sit with these group of girls at lunch that were not very nice to me, honestly, but I was so desperate. And this one girl started sitting with us, and she was very bossy. She was very controlling, and she wasn't very nice. Like we were sitting at our table. We were all sitting at the table we always sat at. We all sat at the same table like every lunch. And then this girl just comes in and she goes,
"We're moving to this table."
And then I was like, no, what? We're not just gonna move because you tell us to. Unfortunately, everyone else left and I was there by myself. And this is probably a really bad example. Something I've noticed a lot that my brother does is that he does a lot of things just because his friends are doing it. And you could tell it's not really him. And he turns into the biggest asshole because of it. And I'm like, where's Zach? This is just like, you know, your 13-year-old boy friend influences and you're acting so obnoxiously because everyone else is. So don't get me wrong, he's still a doofus. He's a 13-year-old boy. What can you expect? But I can tell the change in his behavior after he's been with his friends versus when he hasn't been with his friends in a while. His behavior gets a lot worse after he was just around his friends, or he is around his friends, because he's a show off, because he's a 13-year-old boy. They're all just show offs and they all try to out doofus each other, and that's where I'm getting at here. But I want to make it clear, he is still an overall 13-year-old boy. That's all I have to say about that. But you can see the change in his behavior when he's around people, because he's very easily influenced about a lot of things that I'm not going to get into. But that is especially that age. I get that, but it's still an issue, and it's something I've noticed with a lot of people. So I wanted to make that clear. And I don't even think he realizes it. Some people are just really, really gullible and easily influenced, and that is something I've noticed throughout my time, and that's why it's included in this video. Okay, moving on. So don't just do things that everyone else likes to do it. It's not worth it. Another example with YouTube is that if you're doing what everyone else is doing, your content isn't original. It's just gonna get shoved to the back. It's gonna get lost in the crowd of YouTube. But if you make your own original creative ideas and content, then people will have to watch your video to get that content because no one else is doing it. I thought that was a good example. I feel like I used to do videos just that were trendy, that everyone else did, and then I started making original content that no one else, you couldn't get anywhere else because it was original, and I overall felt better about my content. I know this video is going to be so freaking long, but there's a lot to take in. But number 10 is that there are so many different factors and perspectives to consider in any situation. So like, you can see things one way and you can have your opinion really set in stone, but you have to try to think about things from other perspectives. So just like in any situation, when it comes to anything in the world, any situation, as minimal as it may seem, there are just so many sides to the story. There is not just one side to every story or situation, and there are so many factors in situations that compose the situation as a whole. There are so many things to consider, which, I mean, sometimes I do that a little bit too much and then I overthink everything, which isn't good, but balance, bitches. But just remember, think about things from other perspectives. It'll make you a more intelligent person, and it'll make you more credible, I think. And the 11th thing I've learned is that awareness is the first step in searching for a resolution. And sometimes awareness can be the easiest part, but it is the first step in trying to solve problems. And it can be a lot easier to be aware of something, but it is so much harder to actively pursue it, you know? I'm gonna start shortening my explanations because this video is getting really long, but that is something I've noticed, is that it can be easier to be aware of things. I mean, it can still be hard, obviously, but that is the first step. But it is a lot harder to actively pursue it, even though you're aware of it rationally, which I've talked about in a lot of my videos. So if you want more in-depth on that, you can check out some of my other videos. But yeah, all right, moving on. Number 12 is be grateful for things, be appreciative, and show that appreciation. This might sound cliche, but it's true. There might be people who have it much worse than you, so appreciate what you do have. And I was talking to someone who was older than me, and she had gone through a lot, and I was talking to her about my life, and then she was like, wow, I'm really sorry, like that made me appreciate what I had too. I don't want to say because my life is so shitty, but going along with everybody's facing a battle you know nothing about, some people could be dealing with some really tough shit, and then you don't realize how lucky you are until you're in that situation or you hear about another perspective on things. It's so important to appreciate what you have and to display that appreciation. If you show your family, friends, whoever, how much you appreciate them, feeling that somebody appreciates you is like one of the best feelings ever. And so if you really want to make someone's day, or you really want to make someone happy, show them, tell them, more show them how much you appreciate them, and remind them that I appreciate you, because it feels so good to have someone say that they appreciate you. Number 13, learning is a great thing. I love learning, and you do it every day, all the time. Same thing with maturing. Maturing is great, and you're doing it all the time. It's something that I have definitely learned in the past 16 years, is that you truly do learn something new every day. It sounds like it's just a saying that you've heard so many times, but it's true, you do learn something new every day. And I love learning new things. I love hearing different perspectives on things. I find it so interesting to learn about new things, new cultures, whatever it is. Learning is great. I mean, typical school learning might not be the most exciting, but when there's interesting topics and you learn more about the world and about life and things that are relevant to you, it's so helpful and it feels great and it's so interesting. Same thing with maturing. You're always maturing, and maturing feels great. You feel like a grown-up, you feel more independent, you feel more responsible, and that's a huge part of maturing, is that responsibility is abundant, and having responsibilities can be hard, but I feel like, to me, having responsibilities and taking responsibility for things is not only very important, but it feels good. It honestly, in some way, feeling responsible or feeling like you're responsible for something, to me at least, it makes me feel like I have worth. And as you grow up, you will get more and more responsibilities. And it can be a lot. It can be a lot. But right now, I like having responsibilities. Number 14, sometimes the best things for you are the most uncomfortable. I've talked a lot about stepping outside my comfort zone, and it's something I'm still struggling with a lot still. But like I said, awareness is the first step. I'm struggling with that. But if you're going to keep yourself in this comfort zone, this little box, you are never going to improve. You're never going to progress. You're never going to grow up. You're never going to learn. And it's just not healthy for you to just stay in this little bubble. You have to expand your horizons. You have to try new things. You have to step outside your comfort zone if you want to experience life, if you want to live life to the fullest, if you want to learn, if you want to improve. To me, sometimes I feel like my anxiety or depression it's a part of me, and I don't know who I am without it. And so I just kind of let it sit with me, and I have social anxiety. So I don't really go out much. I stay in my room a lot. I isolate myself a lot because I'm so socially anxious. That's my comfort zone, is staying in my room alone without interacting with people. That's not healthy though. Just because it's comfortable doesn't mean it's healthy. In fact, the healthier thing would be to go out and fight against that social anxiety and interact with people. That is extremely uncomfortable for me, but it's the healthier thing for me to do. So like I said, sometimes the most healthy things for you are the most uncomfortable. Number 15, you are your own harshest critic. Oh girl, this resonates with me deeply. And I think with a lot of 16-year-old girls or teenage girls or younger girls or older girls or anyone or guys. Like I said, I can only speak from a girl's perspective. I'm a girl, but I think a lot of teenage girls are really struggling with their self-esteem and their self-perception. Nobody is more critical of you than yourself, and that is a major thing I've learned in my 16 years that I wanted to share. I beat myself up so much. I put so much pressure on myself, way more than any other person would. Like even for assignments, the teacher will be like, this is good, but to me it'll be like, that's not good enough, even though the teacher just told me it was fine. But to me, I beat myself up and say, you're never good enough, which is so bad. It's just something I've learned, and something that's really resonated with me, and something that's really relevant to me is that you are your own harshest critic. And the 16th one that you guys could have predicted, because I say it in all my videos, but ready for it? Balance is key. That is a huge thing I have learned in my 16 years of life, is that balance is key. Some of the mental illnesses I deal with either make me be extremely black and white or like all blurry, but I can't seem to just have a balance between things. And like I've said this in some of my other videos, is that like anxiety and depression, I'm just relating a lot of this to mental health because that's something that I personally struggle with and I can talk about because I understand it, is that anxiety and depression are exact opposites on the extreme scale. Anxiety is that you're always going and you always feel like you need to be doing something, and then depression, you don't want to do anything and you're just completely lethargic. With me, when I'm feeling very depressed, I feel like I know I need to be doing something so I can feel like I have worth, because when I'm depressed I feel extremely worthless, and so I feel like I need to be doing something, because if I'm not working then I'm a worthless piece of shit. And then I do that, and then I get really bad anxiety because I feel like I'm not giving myself a break, and I am so stressed out because I'm doing all this work, and then I just can't find a balance here. You have to find a balance between not doing nothing, so I want to be productive, but girl, slow down. I go back to putting pressure on myself. That's a huge part of anxiety. Stop putting so much pressure on yourself. Take a break. Don't just sit and do something for hours and hours and hours without taking a break, or you're gonna go crazy. So that's just an example, but in everything in life, extreme thinking is not healthy on either end. Balance is key. I can't stress that enough. You've heard me say it a million times, and I'll say it a million more times. I'm gonna make merch that says balance is key, but it's my motto, and it's a huge thing I've learned, and that's why I wanted to end it with my 16th thing I've learned in my 16 years. So again, I know this video is really long, but I wanted to really expand on each topic, and yeah, I thought this was a really cool video idea, my own take on it, not super cheesy and unoriginal and artsy, but just chill and sharing my wisdom, even though I'm no like, you know, wise old owl, but I am 16, and I'm just sharing things that I've freshly learned. So yeah, I'm gonna end this video here. If you'd like to give it a big thumbs up, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell, and share this video and my channel to those you think might be interested, and leave me comments down below. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Love you. Bye.